Girlfriend had another dream of me cheating on her, so because it's completely my fault, I'm making her favorite dish, rigatoni alla vodka. I guess I'm sorry? So because I hurt her feelings, I got her huge chunks of guanciale and chopped them into equal pieces, which are going straight into a cold pan. Once crispy, I'm removing them from the pan to then set them aside so that I can drizzle in some olive oil before cooking shallots and garlic with basil. I'm then squeezing a whole tube of tomato paste and adding a spoon of the most Italian gochujang. Now, unlike the version of me from her dream, I'm gonna use my frontal lobe and start cooking the pasta so that it's al dente exactly when my sauce will be ready. I'm then pouring spicy water in my sauce before reminding myself why I wasn't move the basil and add heavy cream with cold butter before finally combining the pasta with the sauce and add a splash of pasta water to bring everything together. On a baking sheet, I'm layering pasta with mozzarella and guanciale until I reach the top, where I'll finish it off with parmesan so that I can bake it and think about how I can do better next time because I'm sad to say that I had to cut off 2 of my friends because they decided to start a family and have children instead of thriving at brunch with me and eat pancakes and fried chicken. I think this is the best thing I ever had. So to make them regret their life decisions, let's combine buttermilk with salt, fresh cracked pepper and hot sauce before whisking everything and marinate chicken thighs inside of the fridge. Now we're gonna mix flour with seasoning and use this mix to completely coat the marinated chicken. Fry the chicken in a liquid air fryer until it's crispy enough for me to find new friends. Now because I'm still salty, cook bacon strips and 1 egg until it looks like sunshine to make me feel better. In a large bowl, I'm gonna add sour cream with strained cottage cheese, egg yolks, melted butter and its cousin buttermilk, add vanilla extract and lemon juice before folding in a sweet flour mix. Now the most important part is to whisk egg whites until they become airy and thick. Gently fold them in the batter before frying batches of the mix to make fluffy pancakes that I'm gonna eat by myself soon. Surprisingly, one of my friends officially became a police officer as a 5'2" short king. So let's celebrate him spending his career arresting minions with this short ribs lasagna. Shout out to my short kings. So to make sure he doesn't arrest me, let's keep this short by salting short ribs and sear them in a lubed pot until they're brown and crispy. Throw chopped onions, celery and carrots in the same pot, and once they're cooked, add garlic and tomato paste before deglazing with enough wine to make him forget his shortcomings. Now pour tomato sauce and drop in some beef stock before adding the meat back in the pot to cook. Now to qualify for Italian citizenship, make a flour well and combine with eggs to then knead into a dough ball before realizing that you're weaker than the average nonna. This is a workout. Slice it into 4 parts before passing them through a pasta machine until you get a long lasagna sheet that would make Nonna proud. Boom! After 3 hours, the meat should be tender, ready to be shredded apart and mixed into the sauce. Now spread 1 layer of lasagna sheet in a baking pan, followed by shredded ribs and mozzarella. Do the same thing but faster until we get to the top, which we'll then cover with parmesan. Now the lasagna is ready to be baked and given to my friend so that he doesn't put me in jail. In this economy, you do not spend your life savings on a seat next to the bathroom to fly to Asia, but instead bring Asia to you by making Taiwanese beef noodle soup with asha. If you use your imagination, you can teleport to the beach by aggressively chopping green onions as well as their thicker cousin white onion, and peel 1 thumb of ginger to finally Hulk smash a few garlic cloves because you're not going anywhere this summer. Now throw everything in a pot to be cooked with fermented chili bean paste, and while that's cooking, roughly chop an apple, a carrot, and a bunch of tomatoes that are all going in the same pot. Season with rice wine, soy sauce, and sugar before adding beef stock, Chinese 5-spice, and MSG. And if that didn't feel like enough flavor, we're gonna toast a bunch of spices that are going back in our broth, but this time with huge pieces of meat. That's a dinosaur. Slice the beef in thin, well-done strips before straining the broth to get a rich soup. Now cook some bok choy and asha noodles and enjoy Taiwan at home because in this economy, you do not spend your life savings on a seat next to the bathroom to fly to Asia, but instead bring Asia to you by making. Unfortunately, I have a friend pushing 30 talking about what's the move tonight when he should instead go start a family and feed them birria tacos. I'm ready to be someone's abuela. So to make sure you finally grow up, season oxtail and beef chuck with salt before searing on a hot pan to create a thick crust. Now if you're built different, add Mexican chilies with the seeds, with onions, garlic and tomatoes, a bunch of spices and herbs before covering in water to boil until soft. Blend 1 cup of the flavored water with all the strained ingredients and salt until it looks radioactive. Pour on top of the meat with beef stock and apple cider vinegar before mixing and cooking in the oven. Now listen, Unc, mix corn flour with water and knead into golf balls that are going to be pressed flat, creating fresh tortillas. Toast the tortilla on a comal, and if it puffs up, it means that you're ready to get married, but if it doesn't, then enjoy staying single. After 4 hours, the meat should be tender and scorching hot. Shred it into pieces in a separate bowl from the liquid, which we're gonna dip a tortilla in, and load it up with cheese, meat, onions, and cilantro, and sear until both sides are crunchy. Hopefully with this, you start acting your age because, unfortunately, I have a friend pushing 30 talking about what's the move tonight when he should instead go start a family and feed them. Unfortunately, my fiance left me to travel for 2 months around France when we already have friends at home with this steak frites. I'm basically French. So to bring her back, we're gonna dry brine a steak with salt inside of the fridge. In the meantime, I'm gonna make French fries that are way crispier than the ones in Paris by boiling thick potato slices in water with vinegar and salt. Cool the fries down in the freezer before no air frying them for 10 minutes. Let them cool down again before frying one final time until they're crispy and ready to be seasoned without dropping half of them on your counter. Now take out the steak and use 1000 bottles of baby oil to sear the meat on high heat and on all sides. Baste it with butter and then cover it with steak rub. While it's getting to temperature in the oven, make a peppercorn sauce by adding shallots and crushed pepper in the same pan. Deglaze with whatever drink gets you lit and reduce some beef stock before adding cream and peppercorns. Once reduced, mix in cold butter and boom, we got sauce. After taking the steak out of the oven and resting it, slice it into medallions, and if she doesn't come back after seeing this, then unfortunate sir. This dish is for people who are good listeners. Giving out therapy sessions with your degree in psychology that you got from the University of Trust Me Bro explains why your friends' lives slowly get worse every time they talk to you. And the funny part about this is how you take time out of your day to solve their problems as if you wouldn't get a free admission at the local rehab center. Now you're good at reading people, but you're not always right, and what's holding you back is your creative imagination. You go from daydreaming about how beautiful life can be to putting yourself in a bad mood by letting your insecurities produce 4K images of someone cheating on you. And you gotta stop taking everything personally and reflect on if it's worth losing all your friends over small arguments. Oh, and ladies, if ever you encounter a cancer man, get ready to be manipulated into thinking that you're the problem. Fellas, if you're with a cancer woman, know that she needs to be reminded about how much you love her every 30 minutes. Now your sign is a crab, which makes sense that you have a hard shell, but once people break into it, what they want is avoidant. I'm making you a dish with enough vitamins to keep you from shutting down and give people the silent treatment the moment they say something you don't like. I don't think keeping people at a distance to prevent getting yourself hurt is a good way to feel independent and get over your parents not giving you enough attention. You're gonna have to learn to communicate if you want intimacy or distance, because I'd rather stay at a distance if you expect me to read your mind like Professor Xavier. So because it's easy for you to trust people, but make sure you don't trust everyone, because some people are unable to hold themselves accountable, making it very painful to be in relationships with them. You feel like you're the only one who's trying to resolve conflicts and always end up doing most of the work just to be manipulated into thinking that you're the issue. Now you can get overwhelmed by your insecure partner's emotions, but remember that it takes time for people to heal. That's why I'm making you a balanced meal so you can help your partner become secure. Football. I called American football in my last video, and a lot of you got upset because it doesn't take much to upset people who screams at the TV when a man in tiny shorts kicks a ball in the wrong direction. Now I agree that we should call the sport that's mostly played with feet football. But for the sake of this video, if you're located anywhere outside of North America, call it football. If you're in North America calling it football, you're just being annoying. Now soccer has the most passionate fans in all sports. If you had that same, be sitting in your living room alone with another man's name on your back, rooting for a team that's been disappointing you all your life. It's crazy that you get to experience a new FIFA World Cup every 4 years and at the same time experience no improvements in your personal life. I think they should hand out Oscars after El Clasico matches because of the way soccer players fake cry just like younger siblings after you hit them a little too hard. So without barking like I show speed, tell me if you think Ronaldo is better than Messi. This dish is for people who like to watch grown men in tights professionally hug each other on TV. I know you're supposed to be tough, but there's nothing that screams masculinity more than 22 dudes run after a ball. You need to get your priorities straight if you're more concerned about your favorite football team winning than losing your beer belly. Instead of cheering for the running back, you should run back to the gym and run laps to make sure that you don't end up a big back. And for the Swifties who pretend to be interested in football because Taylor Swift is now dating Travis Scott or whatever, I'm not surprised with you pretending to like something, because I'd never imagined seeing this many people pretend to like Taylor Swift's last album. I'm happy that you at least got the halftime show to look forward to, because I know that you got no clue about what's happening on the football field. Now some football fans are more loyal to their teams than they are to their spouse. You're still rooting for your team like a Drake fan who turned the TV off during the halftime show. At least you're not a bandwagon Chiefs fan who is now a proud supporter of the Eagles. So because you always need more protein, 3 levels of uni. Level 1. But before, hey Meta, start recording. If you already know what uni is, congratulations, you're officially as pretentious as me. So the first dish is for just a chill guy who wants to savor the taste of uni and not have anything interfere with its unique taste. So I'm keeping it simple because less is more, and more uni is never a lesser option. This is uni sushi. Level 2. Hey Meta, can you give me pasta? This is definitely a step up from the last dish. Uni is the only edible part of sea urchin, which is harvested at the bottom of the sea in Japan by elite divers and carefully picked out of their spiky shells. So it only makes sense for this lavish ingredient to be the perfect topping of this creamy and luxurious 3. Now the final boss of uni dishes has to be paired with marinated ikura, which Mochi says is Spanish for salad. This dish is exotic, but I would call it versatile because for some people eating this means celebrating a special day of their lives, while for other people triggers their trypophobia. Rina Carpenter. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. When I first heard about carpenters, I thought it was about people who made stuff out of wood, but turns out it's about people who say, "Cause I'm a singer," 50 times a day. You seem like someone who don't take heartbreaks really well. I think it's time for you to get a taste of closure and stop stalking your ex while carefully scrolling through their page so that you don't like one of their photos by accident. Now I didn't expect Maya from the Disney Channel to end up making super freaky girl pop music, but I also didn't expect you to act so innocent when we all know you're the ones listening to those freaky lyrics. You need to find other ways of improving yourself because all these self-help books, you've already read them and you still can't find a way to stop thinking nonsense. You're the type to sit and think about what you should have said in an argument when you should instead think about how you're gonna stay in their good grace. Now because I want you to focus on your own life and not become a home wrecker, I'm making you a dish that will help you stay up and motivated.